Hello to everybody in Team County and welcome to another of our virtual assemblies. I hope that you're all well, keeping safe, and that you're all looking forward, hopefully, to a few restrictions being lifted over the next few days and weeks. Hopefully seeing a little bit more of your friends and family and enjoying some of the things that have been taken from us over the last few weeks and months. I wanted to take this opportunity to speak to you today about something that many students will know that I speak a lot about at school, and with no apologies to those students at all that they've heard something along this theme from me many times before. When we're lucky enough to be in school, I often speak to upper school in particular about the theme of happiness. And I'm very keen that all of our year 10s and 11s and of course all of our students and their families should focus on this incredibly important part of their life. Now, while we've been in lockdown, the theme that I usually talk about has become even more important, and I'd like to focus on it today. My usual message to all of our students when I speak in assembly is that it is normal and it is natural to have days that are perhaps not as good, days that we don't feel as strong, days that we perhaps feel down, days that it's very, very difficult to find happiness in. And quite often, students will come to my office with issues and problems that they would like me to help with, and I will ask them, what's good in your life and what's good in your day? And sometimes they will struggle to answer and struggle to find something, and we can all relate to that. We can all understand, and we all know that we do have days sometimes where it's hard to pick out any glimmers of light. However, what I'm always talking to students about is how we can rectify that. It is really easy to dwell on the dark parts of our days and our weeks, and this has been particularly true in lockdown. We can focus on the things that have been difficult, the things that have been taken from us, the things that have been restricted from us, the fact that we can't go to school, see our families, go out, socialise. All of those things would be very fair reasons to feel disappointed or to feel down. However, it is seizing hold of the very small things sometimes that may appear trivial that's incredibly important to ensuring that we are seeing, noticing and enjoying the happiness that exists in all of our days. Now, every student that I've ever given an assembly to will know that the example I always use is a very, very simple one. When we are at school, we're having a tough day, a difficult day, there's a lot going on. My Diet Coke, a very small thing and a very minor thing, is the thing that brings me a huge amount of happiness every day. And the wonderful students of Year 10 and 11 have made sure for the last 9 years I've been at County that I've been well stocked with cans of Diet Coke the entire time, generally because they know that they'll get what they want if they come in handing me a Diet Coke. So what does this mean, this lesson that I normally talk about in school, what does it mean now that we're at home? Well, first of all, more opportunities for me to drink Diet Coke, which is very important. But second of all, perhaps it's even more difficult now to find these moments in our days. And as I always say to students in assemblies, these moments are in our days, but sometimes we just don't notice that they are there. So what should we take from lockdown? As we now start to come into a time where measures are being eased and we're perhaps going back to a new way of normal, but more normal than it has been, I want us as a county community to remember the things that have made us happy in lockdown. Those small changes or those small things that perhaps have been forced upon us actually have done us a huge amount of good and changed us for the better. Perhaps that's exercise, perhaps we've been walking, cycling more, perhaps it's reading more, perhaps it's picking up books that we've had for years that we always had the intention of reading and never actually did, watching something on television or a movie that again we've always wanted to, never had chance to, and lockdown has provided us just that little bit of extra time to do a few things that we've always wanted to do. More time with the people that we live with. I know that sometimes that might have been difficult, but there's an awful lot of happiness that can be gained and taken from spending quality time with the people that we live with. It's been difficult not seeing people face to face, but the way that we've been able to interact with other members of our family through Zoom has also meant that there's been some quality conversations with family, games being played and quizzes that perhaps we might not have done otherwise. And actually, some of us might have seen a little bit more of our families that live far away by using Zoom than we might have done anyway. So we find it difficult sometimes, particularly in uncertain times and situations like lockdown, to find these glimmers of happiness in our days, but we have to watch out for them. The message has to be that when you find something that brings you joy and that brings you happiness, however small, however tiny or insignificant that must seem, it's important to notice it, to stop, to think about it, to reflect upon it, and to just take a moment, a few seconds out of your day to realise that this thing that you are doing right now, that very small or very seemingly unimportant thing, is actually hugely important. Be that as insignificant as drinking a Diet Coke at the end of a long hot day, if it's opening a book that you're really enjoying, if it's just sitting down in your pajamas at the end of a day, take time to actually notice that is something that brings you happiness. What is it in your day that actually makes you feel good about yourself and about your situation and your life? And if we actually take time to notice these things and recognise these things, then the more that they will fill us with joy, and the more they will start to drown out some of the more difficult times and the perhaps more difficult situations that we might find ourselves in. So my challenge to you from this virtual assembly is to make sure that each and every day you are noticing and recognising and taking time to enjoy the things that make you happy. And when we do start to move out of lockdown, and when we do return to school and we get back to something that's more like normal for all of us, we need to hold on to those things and not lose the things that during lockdown we took on board to make ourselves happier and healthier. Because if we can keep hold of some of those very small things, then our return from lockdown will not only be fantastic because it will allow us to do all the things we want to do, but it will also make us better and happier in the long run. Thank you very much indeed, and have a fantastic day.